But Afrojack has been talking shit about you. Anything you want to say? Who? Afrojack? Who? That's what I thought.
50 Cent and Eminem have acted more like siblings than just mentor and student. They have stood by each other when it mattered, supported one another throughout arguments, and attended award shows together. In times of conflict, both are known to be vicious. They have insulted former colleagues like The Game and challenged rivals like Ja Rule. Both seem comfortable in the face of controversy, and neither side shies away from conflict. Eminem and 50 don't just get engaged in arguments, they view them as a part of their culture. Among the most well-known examples linked to them is The Game. Eminem and Easy Mill worked together on the song Realist in August 2023. Eminem's performance seized center stage, even though Easy Mill was meant to be the main event. He aimed his sharp poem at The Game, reigniting their long-standing dispute. Eminem wasn't just showing off his abilities, he was reaffirming his position and urging anyone to disagree. The Game made sure his comments were noteworthy because he had previously claimed that his music was not performed in clubs. Eminem used a statement against him. He rapped that The Game's songs were still only heard in clubs because he was still playing. Considering the history of their issues, the shot really resonated. The animosity stems from The Game's long diss track against Eminem, Black Slim Shady. That album also parodied 50 Cent, reflecting the growing friction between him and The Game. For many, this discussion has always been about different paths. It is related to years of animosity and shifting allegiances that started while they were in the G-Unit. The story starts when Dr. Dre recognizes The Game's talent and chooses to recruit him. Dre signed him and subsequently moved him to G-Unit, which was led by 50 Cent at the time. This was hardly an impromptu signing. Rather, it was a way to quickly boost his profile by joining a successful group. As a result, The Game gained almost instant credibility. Some thought it was a smart idea to place him on the biggest stage possible. Others said he was depending too much on the momentum of the 1,950 seconds instead of paving his own path. However, by joining G-Unit, he became directly affiliated with the most well-known hip-hop names. When Dre's first album, The Documentary, came out, his decision was successful. The album, which showcased The Game's talent and presence, was well received by both fans and critics. With the quick popularity of songs like How We Do and Hate It or Love It, he proved that he was a talented songwriter. In every way, the project was a big success, preserving his close ties to 50 Cent and Eminem while confirming his status as a significant rap artist. But despite advancements, strife continued. As the animosity between 50 Cent and The Game grew, rumors started to spread. It became evident that something was wrong when tiny cracks started to show in their relationship. During the filming of the Hate It or Love It video, 50 allegedly refused to sit next to The Game in the car. Some individuals took notice of the narrative and began talking about how their partnership was collapsing. Those outside did not know the details, but it was clear that the two were no longer on firm ground. The first sign of a real separation was that what had begun as a good connection was turning into a major schism inside G-Unit. The growing success of The Game made him more self-reliant, but it also made him more distant from the gang that helped put him on. As Eminem and 50 Cent remained firm, the repercussions became increasingly bitter. Interviews, diss recordings, and a years-long hiatus were the outcomes of the resulting conflict. The history of that conflict continues to surface whenever their names are discussed together.
Yeah, that's true. Those rumors are true, and I'm not gonna deny them.
So did you date him?
No. Can I just clarify that I did not have a physical relationship with him? I did not have an intimate relationship. I've been with less men than I can, than on one hand. So
when the video was first released, it was well received. However, things quickly changed once 50 Cent performed a radio interview. During the show, he startled the audience by declaring that The Game was no longer a part of G-Unit. After the announcement caused a sensation, The Game showed up at the station to try to confront the problem directly. As tension rose, there was a brawl, and in the commotion, shots were fired. In order to prevent more repercussions, both parties made an effort to downplay the incident and put up a united front in the following. In order to put the drama behind them, the two made an appearance together in March 2005 and declared a truce. It was a short-lived arrangement. After leaving G-Unit, the Game was criticized by his former colleagues, who questioned his sincerity and reliability. The Game responded to the criticism with his long diss track, 300 bars and run-in. The record sparked a series of lyrical warfare by rekindling the animosity and cutting deep. With fans divided between the two sides, the battle grew to become one of the most widely followed rivalries in rap. Every release fueled the flames, demonstrating that neither side was willing to give up. The longer time went by, the more antagonistic the exchange became. The Game made an attempt to change course in 2006 by expressing a desire for reconciliation. He implied that he was prepared to put the problems behind him and mend his relationship with 50 Cent. The attempt, meanwhile, was unsuccessful. 50 did not respond at all, and the harm was irreparable by that point. The rivalry persisted as the tension persisted, and more songs kept coming out. The collection of songs directed toward one another expanded over time. With more than 100 songs connected to the argument, the back and forth quickly grew into one of the most drawn-out and lengthy feuds. The Game was still seeking resolution in 2010. He publicly called for the dispute to end and the hostility to cease on social media. 50 Cent remained unconcerned and didn't reply even at that point. The Game, unwilling to give up, persisted and started a petition in 2012 to bring the G-Unit back together. He believed that supporters could advance the cause and compel a settlement. Nevertheless, the crew promptly turned it down, demonstrating their disinterest in going back in time. The message was clear. G-Unit had no intention of allowing him to return. When G-Unit returned to the stage at Summer Jam in 2014, the Game was not present. His split from the group was highlighted by the performance, which also made it clear that things would not be the same again. Supporters who continued to hope for a reunion saw this as evidence that the division was irreversible. Then, when 50 took a shot online in 2022, the conflict unexpectedly reappeared. He made fun of the Game for publicly revisiting old wounds and raising new concerns about motives by posing in a picture with Lloyd Banks. The Game later claimed that his dispute with 50 was resolved and that he had no more grievances. Although it seemed sincere, his attempt at closure was short-lived. Eminem was the target of a fresh conflict that arose shortly after. Black Slim Shady, a song that the Game released, with attacks that went beyond those of Eminem. He showed that he wasn't interested in maintaining limits by making jokes about 50 Cent, Dr. Dre, and even Eminem's family. The purpose of the record was to draw attention and elicit a response. A full-on assault was Black Slim Shady. The Game used the song to make fun of Eminem's career, question his legacy, and bring attention to personal issues in a way that was impossible to ignore. It was obvious that the song was intended to stir up controversy, propelling Eminem into the public eye alongside him. In contrast to the feud with 50, which was motivated by personal betrayal and history, this altercation was more about criticizing Eminem's place in the society. The Game made sure the focus remained on him by pursuing someone as well known as Eminem.
The reason I wasn't on the Super Bowl is because I'm not a safe artist. So it's just like, he not safe, so they went with the safe.
And the hip-hop community was rocked by Black Slim Shady's release. While some fans applauded the Game for his bold and incisive lines, others expressed shock that he would take aim at someone as well known as Eminem. Another group completely disregarded the song, claiming it sounded more like an attention-seeking anthem than a genuine diss. Supporters split into opposing camps as a result of the release's intense cultural disputes. While some cheered the Game's audacious move, others staunchly supported Eminem. Reactions, debates, and analogies were all over the internet. After that, the focus changed from who prevailed in the fight to why the Game initiated it in the first place. The February 13, 2022 Super Bowl 56 halftime show is a key component of the puzzle. The Game was left out of the historic performance by Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and others. Being excluded seemed to exacerbate his annoyance, considering his connections to Dre and his contributions to West Coast rap. According to reports, He felt pressured by the omission, which probably influenced his later decision to target Eminem. The game also didn't keep quiet about it. He expressed how severely he felt the snub by reposting content in which he questioned why his name wasn't included in the lineup. The game talked candidly about how being left out affected him on the I Am Athlete podcast. He said that he thought the industry thought he was too dangerous to be on a platform like that. He believed that his manner was too unpolished, too erratic, and too contentious for a stage performance such as the Super Bowl. That was offensive to him in addition to being disappointing. He felt that his genuineness and contributions to LA hip-hop were being disregarded. He believed that he should have been standing with Dre and Snoop that evening, and his absence was evidence of his marginalization.
He looked like he got a pack of hot dogs in the back of his...
The game increased the ante on Drink Champs with Napare and DJ FN by March 2022, taking aim at both Dr. Dre and Eminem and igniting a new hip-hop trend. He sparked controversy during the sit-down by asserting that Kanye West had given him more assistance recently than Dre had ever done. Furthermore, he went so far as to assert that he was a superior rapper to Eminem. Furthermore, he declared that he was prepared to prove himself on stage and publicly challenged Eminem to a versus combat. Online backlash was immediately generated by the comments, but he made no apologies. Rather, he doubled down in a video that he shared on Instagram, claiming that he genuinely believed what he was saying. When he proposed a direct rap duel or even a single together as evidence of who was superior, the tension only increased. Many questioned whether the competition between him, Eminem, and even 50 Cent would ever end or if it would always resurface. As a result, however, another issue involving Eminem, Mariah Carey, and Nick Cannon was brewing at the same time as that one was developing. Mariah initially denied having a personal relationship with Eminem. However, in Bagpipes from Baghdad, which was released on his Relapse album, Eminem made reference to their history while hurling scathing jabs at her then husband Nick Cannon. There was little opportunity for interpretation in his bars. He rapped lines in which he questioned Mariah and told Nick to back off. His subsequent personal jabs brought the conflict into the public eye. In a retaliatory Tumblr post, Cannon called out Eminem as someone who deserved to be faced and threatened legal action. In an indication that he was prepared to throw himself fully into the fight, he even claimed that Eminem had recently become his full-time job. Mariah released her track Obsessed, which had a video in which she dressed like Eminem, around the same time. Many people believed that this was a reaction to his criticism. After years of silence, the back and forth resumed in 2019 after Nick Cannon appeared on TE's Expeditious podcast. He recalls Slim Shady playing a brand new diss song directed at Mariah during a flight from Africa with Eminem. According to Cannon, he later wrote Eminem a letter expressing his respect while also requesting that he cease treating his wife disrespectfully. Ya claimed that after signing with Shady Records, 50's sound changed, and he accused them of mimicking his style in 2007. In an interview in 2013, he acknowledged that 50 had effectively prevailed in their feud. Ya even tweeted about the coincidence that both rappers ended up sitting in the same row on a flight at the same time. Hopes for peace were briefly raised by fans, but they were dashed when the shooting soon resumed. During Hot 90's Summer Jam that year, 50 made fun of Ja Rule once more by singing I Smell and reminding the audience that the dispute was far from over. In his memoir, Unruly, The Highs and Lows of Becoming a Man, published in 2014, Ja Rule accused 50 of assisting law enforcement by providing information that supposedly sparked a federal investigation into Murder, Inc. 50 categorically refuted this in 2015. Ja and 50 persisted in insulting each other on Twitter, making their fight more intense and personal, even while other rap feuds, such as Drake vs. Meek Mill, made headlines. Then, in 2017, fans were left stranded and incensed after Ja was connected to the collapsed Fyre Festival. 50 constantly made fun of him on social media, making fun of him for the disaster and taking advantage of it as an opportunity to attack. Online tensions increased once more by 2018. 50 responded to Ya's criticism on Twitter with his typical trolling, which included memes and viral jokes. 50 Cent pulled a practical joke that same year when he claimed to have bought 200 front row tickets to one of Ya's gigs in Las Vegas simply to make sure the seats would be vacant. The rivalry became a public joke when he even posted photoshopped images of himself sitting by himself in the rows. Then, in 2019, Ya compared the two and termed both Tekashi 669's and 50's relationships rats. The insult was the latest in a long line of insults between them. Eminem's devotion to 50 was largely responsible for his involvement in the feud. Ya, however, didn't think twice about making fun of him. Ya made disparaging remarks about Eminem's mother, Kim, and even his kid, Haley, on Loose Change. Eminem became enraged by the disrespect and responded with songs like Haley's Revenge and Hail Mary, which he re-recorded alongside 50 and Busta Rhymes. Eminem retaliated with Go to Sleep, while Ya answered with Clap Back. Eminem made it apparent that he was finished by 2004, releasing a song in which he claimed that his label had already prevailed. He no longer felt that the feud was worth the effort. By the mid-2000s, both fans and critics were pointing out that Ja Rule seemed to keep mentioning 50 Cent and Eminem just to remain part of the conversation. Ja once gave the impression that he might end the rivalry, but he later stated unequivocally that he would never do so, insisting that he and 50 would always be adversaries. He doubled down, turning their quarrel into one of the most enduring and acrimonious in hip-hop history. Hip-hop has always thrived on tension, and in this case, it only grew larger over the years. Around the same time, another feud was brewing, this one involving Eminem and Joe Budden. The roots of that clash stretched back to 2011. That year, Slaughterhouse, a group made up of Joe Budden, Royce da 5'9", Joel Ortiz, and Crooked I, signed with Shady Records under Eminem. Fans were excited, believing the group would finally gain the recognition their underground buzz deserved. But behind the excitement, problems started to build. Eminem took on the role of executive producer for their major label debut, Welcome to Our House. His influence shifted the project's direction from the gritty style that made Slaughterhouse popular to a more polished sound with commercial hooks. Joe Budden, who built a loyal fan base through mixtapes and raw lyricism, saw this as a major setback. For him, the shift represented a loss of identity. He believed the group could have thrived on their own without industry compromise. In his mind, Slaughterhouse was better positioned to dominate independently than under Eminem's control. That frustration lingered and eventually spilled over into public comments. Joe Budden started using his platform to voice his dissatisfaction, saying flat out that Slaughterhouse would have been more successful without Eminem's involvement. He criticized the production, calling the beats Eminem provided terrible and completely wrong for their sound. Joe also accused Eminem and manager Paul Rosenberg of mishandling the group and boxing them into a corner that destroyed their momentum. As tension built, the situation remained unspoken until 2018, when Eminem released his album Kamikaze. On it, he aimed shots at several rappers, including Joe Budden. That sparked reactions across the industry, with artists like Machine Gun Kelly, Bizarre from D12, and even Lil Yachty getting caught in the crossfire. But Joe Budden's response stood out the most, taking the conflict to a new level. On his podcast, Joe Budden went in on Eminem with a rant that questioned his character, his management choices, his place in the rap game, and even his lyrical ability. This wasn't just another critique. It was personal. He felt Eminem had failed the group instead of guiding it to greater success. The fallout grew worse when Cake Sang Crooked, another Slaughterhouse member, spoke on Instagram Live and revealed Joe had long been unhappy with how Eminem handled the group. That gave more context to the bitterness. Things escalated again when Joe criticized Eminem's Revival album, which many believed provoked Eminem's subliminal shots at him on Chloroseptic. Bizarre from D12 came to Eminem's defense, calling Joe out, but Joe didn't back off. Instead, he raised the stakes, going so far as to threaten Bizarre physically. 50 Cent soon entered the mix, throwing gasoline on the fire. On Instagram, 50 trolled Joe Budden, warning him that an ass whooping was waiting. The feud now had multiple players, pulling Eminem, Joe, and G-Unit's leader into a heated standoff. Around this time, Eminem sat down for a detailed interview with Sway in 2018. The conversation covered the backlash to Revival, the surprise release of Kamikaze, and the ongoing disputes. When asked about Joe Budden, Eminem explained his disappointment. He said that while he had always promoted Slaughterhouse and given them opportunities, Joe used his platform to tear him down. That, for Eminem, felt like a betrayal. He made it clear they were never close friends but expected at least professional loyalty. During the same interview, Eminem opened up about Slaughterhouse's unfinished Glass House project. According to him, there were enough songs to make an album, but the group couldn't agree on which tracks to finalize. Everyone had different favorites, so it stalled. Eminem assumed they would regroup, record a few more tracks, and complete the project. Instead, nothing came back his way, and the group fell silent. By then, Eminem had already moved on to his own projects. He also addressed criticism over Welcome to Our House, saying fans thought it was too polished. For that reason, he explained, he stepped back, letting the group take the lead so they wouldn't feel boxed in by his vision. Despite that, Joe accused him of holding them back. Eminem expressed frustration with how things unfolded. He said he never cared about profit from Slaughterhouse and doubted he made any money from them at all. What mattered to him was that he believed in the group and invested his time. That honesty showed how much the breakdown hurt him. For Joe, however, the situation symbolized creative control and respect, and he made sure his stance was heard. The fallout between Eminem and Joe Budden remains one of hip-hop's most complicated feuds, blending business, loyalty, and pride. In hip-hop, sometimes you need a mentor, sometimes you need loyalty, and other times you just need one verse that silences every critic. Eminem and 50 Cent managed to balance all three, and that's why their names remain deeply carved into rap history.